Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we are diving into the absolutely fascinating, highly active night shift that your body kicks into the exact second you fall asleep. We tend to view sleep as just this passive luxury, a time to literally just power down, do nothing, and recharge. But what's actually happening behind those closed eyes when you drift off? Well, it turns out your body is incredibly busy. We're going to break this down into 5 key areas today: the brain's night shift, consolidating your memories, arming the immune system, heart health and metabolism, and lastly, the very real economic cost of sleep.
All right, starting with number 1, the brain's night shift.
So let's talk about the glymphatic system. Basically, think of this as your brain's exclusive overnight custodial service. Throughout the day, your brain is working hard, and just like any other organ, it produces metabolic waste. It's just a normal byproduct of thinking and functioning. But here's the catch. While the rest of your body relies on the standard lymphatic system to clean up, your brain has its very own, highly specialized cleanup crew that really only clocks in while you're asleep. And unlike, say, a messy teenager's bedroom, your brain actually does a fantastic job of cleaning itself completely, assuming, of course, you actually give it the time to do so. So how does it actually work deep inside your brain? You've got these hollow spaces called ventricles, and they produce cerebral spinal fluid, or CSF. Now, during the day, this fluid just sort of gently bathes the brain. But at night, the whole process totally shifts gears. That fluid actively and purposefully washes deep into your brain tissue and then flushes right back out, taking all that built-up metabolic waste with it. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you're basically leaving a literal traffic jam of toxic metabolites sitting around inside your head, just desperately waiting for you to finally get some shut-eye. Moving on to part 2, consolidating your memories. Let's talk about the hippocampus, which is a part of the limbic system that basically acts like your brain's IT department. All day long, you're gathering these short-term memories, tiny moment-by-moment details, like exactly how many peas were on your plate at dinner or what order you took your bites in. Let's be real, unless you're training for some highly specific competitive eating contest, those details are totally useless. What really matters for long-term memory is the overarching meaning. Did you enjoy the dinner? Who were you with? While you sleep, your hippocampus is hard at work, transferring those big picture meanings over to your long-term hard drive while letting all the pointless, trivial details just fade away. Which brings us to a huge takeaway. Sacrificing your sleep to cram for an exam is actually the worst thing you can do. It totally sabotages that exact consolidation process. The data on this is crystal clear. Well-rested people routinely outperform their sleep-deprived peers. Period. Because without sleep, you're literally denying your brain the crucial time it needs to convert whatever you learn that day into usable long-term memory. It just doesn't stick.
Okay, on to number 3, arming the immune system.
Far from powering down, your immune system actually uses your sleeping hours to put in some serious work. During that early, slow-wave phase of sleep, your body intentionally kicks off a pro-inflammatory state. Specialized molecules called cytokines hit their absolute peak. Meanwhile, anti-inflammatory stress hormones, like cortisol, drop down to their lowest levels, which allows your growth hormones to spike. And under these very specific, perfect conditions, your T cells and antigen-presenting cells rushed straight to your lymph nodes to fight off pathogens and build up your adaptive immunity.
There's a quote from the medical literature that hits the nail on the head here, highlighting how the hormonal environment during early sleep directly supports longer-lasting immune memory responses. It's just wild to think about. Sleep doesn't just help you clear a current active infection, it is actively constructing your long-lasting immunological memory. By giving your immune cells the perfect backdrop to communicate inside your lymph nodes, sleep ensures your body actually remembers how to defeat specific pathogens. It is literally building your armor for the future.
Let's shift gears to Section 4, heart health and metabolism. Getting through the day is basically a relentless mechanical stress test for your heart. But the moment you fall into non-REM sleep, your parasympathetic nervous system takes the wheel. And this is the ultimate physical break. Your blood pressure drops, your heart rate slows way down, and your heart simply doesn't have to work nearly as hard. But then, on the flip side, the second you wake up, your sympathetic nervous system fires up again, causing this sharp, sudden spike in blood pressure and heart rate to get you moving for the day. So when you constantly shortchange this vital cardiovascular and metabolic reset, the consequences are pretty severe. People who chronically lack sleep face a dramatically higher risk of coronary heart disease, high blood pressure, and even stroke. And metabolically, oh man, a lack of sleep just throws your whole system into chaos. It spikes your hunger hormones, specifically ghrelin and leptin, which sends you desperately craving fatty, sweet, and salty junk food. And worse, at the exact same time, it drops your body's ability to properly respond to insulin. It's essentially a fast track toward obesity and metabolic syndrome.
Finally, let's zoom out to number 5, the economic cost of sleep.
It's super easy to think of sleep deprivation as just a personal, individual health issue. But a massive study by the Rand Corporation decided to look at the macro picture. They actually modeled 5 major OECD countries to try and quantify the exact economic damage that a tired, sleep-deprived workforce causes. And the results were staggering. We're looking at massive losses in labor productivity and GDP simply because people aren't resting. The researchers compared our current, highly sleep-deprived reality against these what-if scenarios, modeling what would happen if the proportion of short sleepers was actively reduced. The data proved that economic output and labor productivity would surge if populations just got a sufficient amount of sleep. It's a real, tangible hit to the global economy. So let's wrap this up. Knowing that literally everything, from the physical flushing out of cellular garbage in your brain to cementing your memories, programming your immune system, giving your heart a break, and even fueling the productivity of the entire global economy, knowing that all of it relies entirely on this biological night shift, what are you truly sacrificing when you choose to stay awake? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer to explore the incredible science of sleep. I hope you walk away from this ready to get some truly well-deserved rest.